It's it's not the easiest business in the world, but when you get your approach right, it can be. For me, it was the most rewarding and the most fun I ever had in residential real estate. I never fought anyone on price. They trusted my advice. They looked at me as an actual advisor, not as someone they were going to pit against 6 other people in the next 12 hours. And FSBO expired. I've been in front of sellers that literally had appointments stacked up like 7 realtors in a row.
Oh yeah.
And it's not in me to do that, man. I don't beg for business.
Yeah, we went on that yesterday. I told you when we had a brief conversation. I was heading to one yesterday, and
yeah,
and they had a realtor there. But instead of directing the questions toward the seller, I questioned the agent a lot because that's proper etiquette. But she didn't know anything about the property, didn't know the square footage, didn't know the prices in the neighborhood. So at the end of the appointment, I'm talking to the seller, and it's just that knowledge level that is going to separate us to convince them to either sell it as a cash deal or to make it a listing. And they are going to eventually, some of them do have their realtor friends, but they could see clearly that she was not prepared for listing that house.
Yeah. And that I always try to, we talk about it in mastery, and on the mastermind calls, but if you ever do have, whether it's an investor or a realtor, put them in front of you, give them the appointment first, but set it up with the seller. Be like, well, that's great. I think you should meet with as many people as you can. So you'll see the value when we meet on Friday at 3. So Can you meet with them before Friday at 3?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And you create so much curiosity in all the things that you offer, the options you offer. They're not going to sign an agreement. I've never had this bite me, actually. I've never had anyone say, well, we signed with her. I've had the opposite. And you heard some of those stories. Like the one guy, he crossed his arms and he shook his head and he's like, I don't know what the hell we're going to tell Nancy. And he pulled the listing agreement out and started signing it himself. And before that, on the initial phone call, the objection I got was, we don't need a realtor. We've used the same one for 28 years. And she's our neighbor, so we have to list with her. But I got face to face, and that was how I knew. He said, I don't know what the hell we're going to tell Nancy. But so even if you have competition, put them in front of you. And when they see the contrast, like when they see like one person's offering one thing and has a very narrow skill set versus a broad offer, you're focusing, on the people and the situation and what their goals are within that. And you have a solution for no matter what could come up. It is night and day. That's how you compete with iBuyers. You compete with thousands of investors, thousands of real estate agents. How many agents are in your local board?
Oh gosh, 21,000.
Yeah, so you got 21,000 real estate agents, 6,000 or 8,000 real estate investors. I mean, You're competing with 30,000 people, and you're still doing 6 deals a month off of one list. And you're doing one county now, right? We
actually reduced, and that we reduced down so we could audit all our leads. So we'll actually bring them back on. But we have in the system, not to go forward a little bit in this talk, but we have like 4,000 leads that didn't answer the phone. So why we do need to pause a little bit. I told Liz, pause it just for, give me 3 weeks. I'm going to go through these and probably get another 20, 30 deals out of them.